Hey everybody, welcome back to Everyday Journey. Today we're going to put another video into the Can I Fix It playlist. I don't have high hopes for this just because the person I work with, they gave this to me to see if I could fix it. They claimed that it smelled bad. Don't know if they said it stopped working or not, but they said it started smoking. And so I don't really have high hopes for it, but we'll check it out and see. If nothing else, maybe we can salvage some parts from it. This is a Stanley blower fan, says for indoor use. And let's see, it's got 3 speeds on it. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 speeds. And it's got 2 extra adapters here, or extra places that you can plug other things into. So let's get into it and see what we're looking at. So looking from here, I'm going to start with, there's a couple of screws around the handle. There's 2 right here on this side, and then there's 2 on the other side right here. But actually, first off, let's see. I did plug this in. Let's see what it's doing. So we turn it on. And it's running, but it's kind of running intermittent. It sounds like it might be... It doesn't sound like it's grinding or anything. But it just sounds like it's dragging. And it could be that it's getting intermittent power, which is why it's not working consistently. Or it could be that it's dragging and it's just so much that it's not even grinding anymore. But anyway, so that's what it's doing. Let's go ahead and unplug it before we get any further into it. But I can see the screws now. I think they're just on my side. 2 screws that hold the 2 halves together. At least that's my thought, that it's on just my side. I can't see the other side, but yeah, it comes apart. So that's that. Looks like we might have the same kind of thing on the bottom here. So we will go ahead and take off all these screws. There we go. All right, so now these parts can separate. But of course, there is a sticker here that goes across it. All right, so that's got that. So they've got some security screws here, and I have a security set. It's kind of like a flathead. Yeah, it's like a flathead with a groove in the middle of it. Like this. Kind of like U-shaped. Just trying to make it hard for people to actually fix things. Now granted, I don't know if this one's going to be able to be fixed, but at least if it could be, make it easy enough for people to take it apart, you know? Why you need all these special tools for stuff? It's ridiculous. These are just screws. Alright, so there's the one side. There's a fan in here, or the fan. Oh, there's the fan that's in there. And I guess maybe trying to take it off might help get to whatever it is to open up this. Alright, so it's 7/16. Take that off. But I don't think we're going to be able to, yeah, we're not going to be able to do anything about the fan yet. Even on this side, I don't see any screws. Although, we could try to get this knob off of here. Of course, there's one Phillips screw right underneath that. I don't think it's going to do us any good, but we'll see. No, that just was holding the switch. So now the switch can fall in there. We have the fuse, well, it's the reset here. Take that off. See if that's not holding anything. Push it in. I don't feel any other screws here. The only other option I can think of is that maybe this rotates to a place. Uh-oh. Rotates to a place to where it can come off. And I think I may have just found it. Or I've broken it to a point where it comes off. Oh, look at that. So just rotating this thing, I was able to pull it off. It got it to a place to where it was no longer held in place by this lip that's around here. So anyway, here's the fan that I was taking off. This is plastic, and it still looks fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So here's our motor. It seems like it's fine. I don't hear it grinding or anything. So anyway, there's 3 screws here that we'll go ahead and take off. And that should release this cover that I was trying to pry off. So now at this point we got to get all our electrical connections out, and actually they all come from, they're all except for the switch itself. The switch goes through this way and you just put the cover on it. Well, put a screw on it and then put the cover on it. But these plugs for these outlets here, those are inserted this way and then they connect the wires to them, so I'm not getting that loose. Take that washer off because I know I'm going to lose it if I don't. So without seeing anything in here that looks like it's burning or anything like that, nothing looks black. There's a good chance that what the problem is this little I forgot what you call it. But I've got another fan here that has the exact same problem. It's one one of these. So maybe I can interchange things. We'll see. First, I want to go ahead and plug this thing back in and see if I can see anything going on right here. Well, for some reason, I just got the motor to quiet down just by kind of pushing on it on the back side. It sounds pretty rough. It's working, but it sounds pretty rough. Yeah, this thing sounds rough, so I'm thinking the motor needs to be checked out. Most likely there's a bearing issue or something in it. Even though it spins fine, it feels like it's maybe shifting the whole shaft, maybe shifting in and out some. So I'm going to try to take the motor out. Looks like there are 3 screws on it. And the name I was trying to think of that was a run capacitor. But the fact that it's working makes me think that the run capacitor is not actually bad. But in the case that I can't save this fan, maybe I can use it to get another one working. So with our motor here, to be able to separate it, I've got 1, 2, 3 screws again. Let's see if we can't peel this apart a little bit. Probably have to take this clip off of here. All right, let's see what we got on the inside. So here's our front bearing. And now that I feel this, the motor is, the windings and stuff in here, they're warm. As freely as that spins, I think our problem is just I think it's that run capacitor. Because if it's not working right, it won't let it run the way it's supposed to. Because these bearings, they're spinning great. It doesn't seem like there's really any play or anything like that in them. So I think that right there is perfectly fine. I don't see any damage inside it. to the windings. So I would guess that it's probably just the run capacitor. So given I haven't seen any other issues with it at all, that's most likely our fix for it, because it's a very common problem. As far as if you didn't want to fix it and just wanted to give up on it, what could we use this for? Well, the motor itself really won't run right without a run capacitor, so you really couldn't use the motor unless you wanted to buy that part. It doesn't have a lot of torque to it. It's just the only thing it's supposed to do is spin this. So it doesn't take much to spin this, and the only thing it's got for resistance is the wind. So it doesn't need to have a lot of torque. You do have some outlets that are in the side of this that I guess you could use them as for something if you really wanted to. You do have a switch there that has 3 positions. And you have a fuse, a resettable fuse on here as an overload protection that maybe you could use for something else. So you could use the shaft and the bearings. That does kind of, it's weighted some, so it can maybe use it as a flywheel for something small. The bearings themselves, they're sealed bearings. I think it says 608 ZZ bearings. Those are pretty common, and so you may have a use for those bearings and something else where the bearings went out. Well, there is a cable, fairly thick gauge cable, that looks like it's about maybe 10 feet long, so you could use that on something. It's got a pretty good, pretty thick outer sleeve on it to help for protecting it. So if you had something that you need to put that on, you could. But anyway, hopefully you guys, I know you couldn't see what I was doing exactly, but you could see me fight through it. You could see the thought process on how to get into this and see where to go to take this apart. And I was just taking it apart on the fly, as you could tell. I mean, it took a while, but just the thought process to be able to do it. And of course can take it apart. So this is not something that you couldn't fix if you had one. I was thinking that they sealed it in a way that you couldn't, but I was wrong. So if you really wanted to fix this, then, because a lot of times the motor doesn't, this thing is only a couple of years old, and a lot of the times, and it only gets used half of the season. So, for the motor to go out in that length of time, and it's only used during the days and only the days that are hot, for it to get actually worn out in that amount of time, that I couldn't see, especially it being a brushless one, I couldn't see that being that couldn't be the problem. So I'm going to go ahead and say about 99% that run capacitor that's on there and or start capacitor is your problem. So replacing that for $5 or $6, and now you fix the fan. So as long as you didn't damage it too much trying to take it apart, which this one is still salvageable, then you'll have a good working fan that'll last you another couple of years or so. So if you guys enjoyed this, let me know, because I would like to make videos like this. You know, I enjoy taking things apart to see how they work, if nothing else, and then hopefully be able to fix them at the same time. So if you guys want to see more of things like this, as you know, I take apart all kinds of stuff all the time. And everything that I take apart, I learn something on. So maybe you can too. And maybe you can learn some things. Maybe even you can help me out and I can help you out. You know, that's what the comments are for. So I appreciate you guys watching if you watched this long. And I guess until next time, y'all take care.